They stopped me in a Volkswagen Golf, pulled a gun in my face and said, get in the car. I got fucking scared, of course. I got in the car and they were like, look, we warned you. And I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna die. The 2 deals that actually bought my house was, we got a big order of the top drug mafia in Antwerp, which were Belgian Moroccans. Now, if you see like on the news, there's a lot of talk about grenade explosions, like buildings getting blown up by grenades. It's them. And we also had the guy like the Frenchman. Sounds very movie-like, but everyone knew him as the Frenchman. He had like sets of jet skis, mansions, everything. And we supplied him.
You supplied him?
Yeah, we supplied that guy. So we had to pick up our supply to meet them first. And we got like a code and everything to give like to a guy. Okay, we drive there. So they open the gate and we go in the gates. And basically it's just like a fucking giant mansion with like guys with guns. And my heart was pounding. It was like, bro, I'm in a fucking Pablo Escobar movie. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Fucking shit. And the highest I ever got was 1,000 kilos.
You bought 1,000 kilos at once.
1 tons of weed.
1 ton. That's a truck. Wow, that's a truck. Hello and welcome to the podcast Hostel. I'm your host, Milan Milutinovic. We're recording this in Morro de Sao Paulo, which is about 2 hours south of Salvador.
Brazil.
In Brazil, baby. You're starting heckling me already. I was about to introduce you, but it's the kind of quality of guest that I have. No respect. No respect at all. All right, back to the serious tone. I met... My guest today is going to be staying anonymous for safety and career purposes, so we're going to be calling him Jay. Today we've got Jay on the podcast. I met him on the Nomad cruise, and he had a very interesting and quite inspiring story with a lot of perspective to give. When he was young, he was homeless and became a very successful drug dealer. And he successfully got out of the game of drug dealing, which I think is quite interesting because it sucks a lot of people in, but he managed to buy a house and get out of the game, and then he made a very good career transition into being a executive level headhunter.
Yes, that's right, correct. Jay? Yeah.
And I just wanted to share this story with you guys. So Jay, take me back to the beginning. Maybe let us know about your upbringing, where you're from. You have about 4 nationalities, I think.
Correct. Yeah.
So where were you born?
Born in Antwerp.
Yep.
That's in Belgium. And my mother is half Russian, half Ukrainian, and my father is Italian.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, my upbringing. So I was born in Belgium.
Yep.
But rough childhood, I'd say, because the Slavic side, and then my father, the Italian side. It's very cold and hot at the same time, so there was a lot of friction in the family. I'm also an only child, so no brothers or sisters.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fighting in the house, kind of abusive relationship between my mother and my father.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it was not that bad, more like emotional, but physical, not really.
Mm-hmm.
So I know a lot of people have it much worse in that sense than I did.
Sure. And your dad was a part of the mafia or something, is that right?
Not kind of the mafia, no, not like that. No, my father, he's like a Rolling Stone. You probably know the song. He always sends it to me to re-listen every time I send him like a travel video. Like my papa was a Rolling Stone.
Your papa was a Rolling Stone.
Exactly. So he traveled a lot, lived in India, in the US, even was part of the Scientology.
Oh, he was a Scientologist.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He even met the Ron... I forgot
L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah, he even met him.
Really?
Like, even has certificate, like pictures with him and everything. So
wow, amazing.
It was kind of a crazy guy.
Okay, crazy guy.
And his main profession was a truck driver.
Drug driver?
Yes,
truck
driver.
Truck driver?
Yeah, truck.
Okay.
He found like the business opportunity to, during his truck driving days, he did like all of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And he got the business idea through, he loved drugs. And that's how he got the idea to actually, while he was working, to smuggle it.
Okay.
So he was smuggling mostly cocaine and marijuana.
Okay.
And yeah, on one of the trips was Ukraine in Odessa. Odessa is like a beach city in Ukraine. And yeah, so he went there for a run. And my mother in those days, she was studying in, no, after university, it was already. And she lived in Odessa. And her boyfriend was was the biggest like architect
Okay.
of the Odessa Oblast, which is
Odessa,
like
okay.
the province of Odessa. It's roughly the size of Belgium.
Okay.
And but on the side he was also like a mobster, like everyone there at those high levels.
He was an architect, like a building architect.
yes,
So
yes.
he had a day job. He had
Yeah,
like
so
a,
basically every building needs to be approved by him in the
okay.
entire province.
Okay. Okay.
And but on the side he was also like in the drug business. And my mother was his girlfriend.
Okay.
And it was one of my father's contacts. So
Yep.
he went there on a drug run, and that's how he met my mother.
Wow.
And basically they met,
Yeah.
and they fell in love quite fast.
Amazing.
And yeah, because he was the boyfriend was a dangerous guy, the architect. They had to run. That's is also the only reason why my mother moved to Belgium.
Wow. Okay.
Mostly like the Russians moving to another country is because of a sugar daddy, but there it was the opposite. My mother was the one who had the money actually.
Okay. She was sugar mama.
Pretty much, yeah. And so they ran to Belgium, and that's why they also had to change my last name, because I neither have a Russian last name, neither a Belgian last name, which I will not disclose here due to obvious reasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my father changed his name, so the boyfriend of my grandmother adopted my father, so the name got changed that way actually. So that's how, let's say, he moved so he didn't have the danger of getting assassinated.
Yeah. Yeah. He was on the run for his life. So I mean, you were born into that kind of circumstance, I guess.
Well, I never knew it until much later age, to be honest.
How old were you when you kind of found out your family history?
Like, I'd say 14, 15, maybe
Okay.
something like that.
Yeah. Critical period in
Yeah.
life.
So yeah, my father a very free soul.
Yeah.
My mother more like the Slavic values of family values, need to take care of the family. But yeah, my father was a truck driver across all Europe, so he wasn't home that often.
Right.
So basically I just got raised by my mom.
Okay. Okay.
But my father, yeah, used drugs a lot. He was also an alcoholic.
Okay.
So that caused a lot of friction between my parents.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of fighting in the house,
Yeah.
fighting. It was not that good, obviously.
Did he make a lot of money doing this line of work?
Well, I would think so, but I didn't feel like our family had a lot of money.
No.
I think he like either gambled it or partied with it or put it up his nose.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I
Yeah.
never felt like there was a lot of money in
Yeah,
the family.
okay,
It's
okay.
usually my mother that had to give like money to my father.
Right. Okay. Okay. And she knew all of this. I mean, she was in that game, I guess, as well with her ex-partner before she met your dad.
Well, she was always like kind of distant from it.
Yeah.
And especially like after she had me, she was like very like against it.
Yeah.
So there were like, I guess, a lot of fights between them about that part.
Right. Right. And your parents, did they divorce when you were
Well,
a kid, or-
actually, until this day, they're still officially married. But let's say unofficially, they're, let's say, divorced for about, I'm now 29, about, 20 years almost.
Okay, so you were 9 years old.
Yeah,
or
something
so.
like that, yeah.
Right. Right.
When they split up.
Yeah. And yeah, what were you like as a kid? I mean, were you a good student? Did you like school?
No, I was a rebel. I was a rebel.
You were a Rolling Stone as well.
No, in school, like maybe because I never had this attention at home, I kind of was seeking it in school, but in a bad way. You know, any attention is better than no attention. That's
Yeah.
what I realize now. So I struggled having friends because I was like the clown of the class, let's say. So yeah, it was kind of tough at school for me. I hated going to school.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Me too. It's a lot of kids. And then I guess, when did you become? Was it through your dad that you got into the drug game, or like how does that begin? I mean, how old were you when I guess you start dealing drugs? Like, how does that career path eventuate? How did you create that? What happened there?
Well, it started with when my parents split. My mom got into a severe depression and started drinking a lot herself.
Okay.
And every time she drank, she became very verbally abusive towards me. And when I was 17, I just couldn't take it anymore.
Wow.
I really couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
And that is when I decided to basically run away from house. So just one day or the other, I just ran away.
Yeah.
My mother even followed me on the streets and
Right.
everything, and I just like ran. And
What did you have with you when you ran? You had a backpack, you had some money, or you just ran?
No money at all. I think I stole maybe like 20 euros from my mom out of her wallet.
Wow. Wow.
And so yeah, I ran away. And I thought, yeah, I had a good friend then, and I thought, yeah, I can crash at his place. But he had kind of a crazy girlfriend, so I overestimated my chance to have a roof over my head. So I went to him like with my backpack with some clothes, and 20 bucks in my pocket.
Wow. Wow.
And I thought, okay, I can stay. But that night they had also a big fight, so I couldn't stay there. But he gave me like a pillow and a blanket, and I could stay like in the hallway in the basement.
Okay.
So I slept there that night.
Wow.
Yeah, that was, let's say, a tough period. Because I also didn't have a lot of friends, because I wasn't that good at making friends in my childhood. And he was pretty much my only friend and one other guy. So I was like alternating between, sometimes I could sleep at his place, sometimes at another place. Few nights I slept also like in the park. Not the gay park we talk about.
There's a park in Antwerp that's famous for gay encounters. All right, so you slept in the park.
Yeah.
And when did what happens then? I mean, when you're a kid, you run away from home. The situation is so bad that you're willing to sleep in a park rather than at home with your mother. I mean, that is
at that point this was more like an ego thing. That I know that I could always go home to my mom. I knew that. I know in the end she was very depressed and abusive, but she always had like the best intentions in mind.
Yeah.
So I know that I could go back at any time. But I think after 4 or 5 months, I'd say, then the friend where I slept in the basement the first night, he broke up with his girlfriend and moved to a new place.
Okay.
And he allowed me to stay at his place.
Right.
Yeah, so basically that is when I quit being homeless. By the way, also this entire time I was still studying in university.
Oh, okay. So how old were you? I thought you said you were about 17 or something?
Basically, so when I moved to my friend's house, in Belgium, let's say you quit your middle school when you're 17. So basically by 18, when I moved into my friend, I went to college, to university. Because I always also like the Slavic mentality. Without a degree, you're nothing, right? You can't be successful without a degree.
Yeah, without that, you're worthless.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know that. I've heard that story a few times. What were you studying?
Business science.
Business science.
Yeah.
Science of business. Never heard of business science.
That's how the Belgian term is handelswetenschappen, but it translates to business science.
Okay. And when you were studying at school, I mean, did you feel yourself? What was your plan at that stage? I guess you've been running around sharing beds where you can, kind of bumming a stay where you can. What was that a happy time in your life? Were there any good memories? I mean, it sounds quite harsh.
No, actually, especially like the homeless part. But after that, when I moved in with my friend, that was, I think, the lowest place I've ever been.
Right.
Also because I never used drugs or anything, but when I moved in, there was another girl that also needed a place to stay. So we're like, okay, we can cut rent by 3. Then when I moved in, I'm like, okay, I don't want to live here for free. I don't want to freeload. I also need to eat.
Yeah.
So I got like a part-time job at McDonald's.
Nice. Respect.
Just part-time, like I think 20 or 24 hours per week I worked there, and then going to university during the day. And then My friend actually was a Latino, by the way, from Ecuador. He was a drug dealer himself,
Okay.
but like low level, like just like
The dude you were staying with.
yeah, exactly,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
who I was living with.
Okay.
So he was, but like low level, like some weed on the side, because we both then it started. Like I like to smoke weed.
Yeah.
So we started smoking weed together,
Yeah.
but it's quite expensive. So we sold weed actually just to cover our own supply. We were selling weed. Well, he actually was
Yeah.
selling weed. And that's how I got like the first taste of selling drugs.
Yeah.
And then, well, he was doing it, but I also had some of my own friends that was like, hey, if you want need some weed, hit me up. I'll figure it out for you. I'll get it for you through him then. And then even like at the start, it was so every cent counted because I would go to the supermarket like with €3. I really had to count like, okay, what can I buy to feed myself for a day or two?
Wow, that's incredible.
But the craziest thing is like how a mind works. Like weed was like my escape to not think about all the shit.
Yeah.
So basically, I was spending more money on drugs than to feed myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's such a crazy thing if you think about it.
It is, but I mean, you need to cope. Yeah, but I understand. I totally get it. I totally get it. Yeah, so it wasn't very glamorous in the first few, at the first stage of dealing drugs. It was just literally to get by and to.
I think I lived with that guy about a year.
Okay.
But then, like I said, like the girl moved in also, and she was like a drug addict, but not weed, like hard drugs,
Okay.
like speed and cocaine.
Yeah. Okay.
And I never did that before, and I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, fuck it, like I'm already on my lowest point,
Yeah.
like fuck it.
Fuck it. Why not?
And then I started to also use like hard drugs,
Okay. Right. Right.
and that was the lowest moment I've been in life with the drugs. And my university was also not going that good again, but I always found like a way to pass my exams. So in the end, school didn't suffer that much. And let's say a year later, we lived there a year. We kicked the bitch out after 6 months, bro. We even throw her bicycle out of the window from the 3rd floor.
Wow. Wow.
Because she was that insanely crazy. I think that's the worst human being I ever met in my life.
Wow.
That bad she was.
But did she have a thing going on with your other housemate, or was she like beautiful? Like, why did you put up with her?
Well, because we needed to share the rent.
Okay.
And I think the total rent was about €800 a month. And sharing it 3 ways was a big difference, trust me, a big difference.
Yeah, especially when you're counting every
Yeah,
euro.
yeah. But the house was a shithole. Like the roof was leaking. There was a hole in the roof. It was a shithole, and it was also 1 bedroom.
Oh, 1 bedroom. Jesus.
So I was sleeping downstairs on the couch, and they were sleeping together upstairs.
Okay.
So they were fucking, yeah.
Okay. yeah. That's important context, I think. Right. So she got kicked out. They broke up, and then how did you become more of a serious, let's say, drug dealer? How does that career progress?
Well, I started to get more and more clients, but I was very committed. Sometimes I would even take 1 hour bus drive just to make €20.
Right. And why? Did you feel satisfaction? Like, did you feel like a good businessman? Like, what was the mentality?
I know back then I was just a street dealer, like very low level. Like I was maybe selling 10 grams of weed. So you buy wheat for €6 to €7 a gram, depending on the quality, and you sell it for $10 a gram.
Okay.
So you make let's say €4 on every gram.
Okay.
And then like say an hour, I would never. Then I was selling like 1 gram, 2 grams. But if I have to go far, I'd sell like minimum 5 grams.
Okay.
To make it worth the trip, obviously.
€20.
Yeah.
Right.
At some point, more and more people knew me. And since I was a weed smoker myself, I understood like what makes a customer stay or what makes a customer leave. So it happens if you meet your dealer, you have to sit like 30 minutes waiting for him, or like there's always something, or you text him, they don't answer. I was like, okay, if I want to retain my customers, and I didn't have a lot back then, I need to treat them really well. So even if I wouldn't have any supply, I would text them, say, hey, sorry bro, I don't have something right now, I'll have it like 9 p.m. tonight, I'll even come bring it to you because I'm sorry for this, I even give you a bit extra. Or if I meet with someone, I will never make them wait, so I'll make sure I'll even be there before they arrive, just to make sure the service is just on point.
Customer service.
Exactly, it's all about customer service.
It's all about customer service.
And at some point I was making with the, so McDonald's, I left that. Then I went to Starbucks actually to work. Also
I heard you got
part-time.
fired at McDonald's.
Yeah, I got fired at McDonald's. Yeah. It was just not my job, bro. It was not my job.
No.
I got fired after 3 months actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
3 months. Nice. I worked at KFC for 6 weeks. So.
Fuck that shit. It's not my thing. Respect for people that can do it. Really, all the shit you see, you smell like fries every single day. Your hair is greasy all the time. No, it's not my thing. And I got fired because at some moment, like the stress got so high that I yelled like, like the kind of customers at McDonald's, they're not like the slimmest people. And she ordered like one big woman that came almost every day. She ordered always like 2-3 Big Macs. And one day, like something was wrong with the Big Mac. I was the cashier, not even in the kitchen. And she got so fucking mad and she threw like the hamburger at me. I was like, you fucking fat bitch. And the manager heard it and she was like, no.
You're out.
You're out.
That's it. That's
but
it.
back, I didn't mind it that much because I already at that point I was making already some side money with drug dealing, and maybe like 500 euros a month profit.
Yeah.
Which I probably smoked half of it myself.
Yeah, not glamorous at all, really.
No,
not a lot
not
of
at all,
money.
not at all. Also working like until 2-3 in the morning, selling drugs. In the day going to university, in the evening working at Starbucks. So I would even like get my customers to come to Starbucks.
Oh wow!
I worked in the central station of Antwerp, so very central location. They were just like wait in line, and like the Starbucks bags where you put like the pastry inside. I would already know what customers are planned for today, and I would like put the wheat bags in those pastry bags.
Wow!
Roll it up.
Wow!
And then they would act like a customer, like, hey, here's your your wheat, and they would just like pass around.
Wow!
So it was kind of like very low key. Only my like employee locker sometimes smelled like weed.
Oh my god!
And that's how it grew bigger and bigger. People talk. One customer tells to another customer, so it's mouth to mouth advertising, marketing. And at some point I was making around 1,000, 2,000 a month. And then we moved to a nicer place. Me and the same friend. We moved to another place. Then he had a nice full-time job, so he wasn't drug dealing anymore. He was just getting supply from me. I would just give it to him like friends. And so steadily that's how it got bigger and bigger.
Right. And I mean, do you think it grew because of your customer service? I guess that's what it takes to be a good drug dealer.
I know you start with like buying 20 grams of wheat as supply, then you go to 50, the price goes down. You go to 100 grams, you go to 200 grams, you go to 1 kilo. And the highest I ever got was 1,000 kilos.
You bought 1,000 kilos at once.
1 tons of wheat. That's a
ton.
truck.
That's a truck. Wow, that's a truck. Yeah, so what was the turning point? Was there a place? Because, I mean, it is kind of a business the same as any other business. It's just illegal and it's criminal.
Of course.
You're still an entrepreneur, let's say.
Yes, of course. You have to think about safety. You have to think about customer service. You need to take care of your suppliers. You need to negotiate about prices.
Yeah, it's kind of an education in business science, It's that's
where it came in.
Your real degree.
Well, at some point, like after 3 years of university, I quit university. Even I had quite good degrees. But the problem was I was still working at Starbucks because I spend money. And I know that most drug dealers got caught because they have money, but they have no job.
Right.
That's why I kept the Starbucks job. And I kind of liked it. It kept me busy. And not otherwise I would just sit in my couch like a potato and smoke weed all day and just let customers come. So Starbucks was also something to just keep me busy. I had nice colleagues who also just enjoyed the vibe about it, making a coffee, And actually made also quite good money at Starbucks. Why? Because I found a system to steal from the cashier.
Oh, so you're stealing from Starbucks as well. Multi-level entrepreneur here. Multiple streams of income. Right. How did that go? And how much were you stealing? Is there a lot of money in stealing?
About 100 euros a day.
Okay, that's
so I would get like 10 euros an hour by working. I was working like 8-hour shifts. and then I would steal another
Mm-hmm.
100 euros. So it's about, let's say, 200 euros a day,
Mm.
which is not that bad if you think about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And then you're making also you're also giving packages of weed
Exactly.
while you're there. So
Well, the stealing from Starbucks was how it worked. So the thing is that my Starbucks, like the operation side, the logistics was shit.
Mm.
So we never knew what was coming in, what was coming out.
Mhm.
And especially like with hot chocolates,
Mhm.
it's very hard to track because we would just make it, but not count the packages or how much was made or whatever. And they were always like a fixed price. Like small hot chocolate was 5 euros on top.
Mhm.
So what I would do is when people pay with card, you can't do anything. But if they pay cash
Mhm.
and they pay the right amount, you just don't put it in the system.
Yeah, you just keep that.
Yes.
That's good to know for retail owners how employees might be stealing. Yeah.
So basically, and then for every 5 euros I know that will not fit in my register, I would put like 1 cent in a separate like square in my register. And by the end of the day, every cashier has to count their register.
Mhm.
And based on the 1 cents that were on the side, I knew how much I could take out of the register.
Okay. Did you ever feel bad about stealing from Starbucks?
It's a fucking billion-dollar business. Like I did that shit for almost a year.
Yeah.
No one noticed anything.
No. But I mean, it is a franchise owner. I'm assuming it's
Yeah,
Starbucks
it was
is a
franchised.
franchise.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, you know,
But the franchisee is not Cargill. I forgot the name. I forgot the name of the. It's like a red logo with not Cargill, but something. It's like in Belgium.
it's like a big company.
They
or
own
something.
McDonald's. They own like
Right.
most of the gas stations, all the
Right.
Starbucks
Yeah.
almost.
So fuck them. They make enough.
They're still billion-dollar
yeah,
company.
yeah. They make enough.
They're
won't
making
see-
good money. Good. I know. Autogrill. I think it's
Autogrill.
Autogrill.
Okay.
Autogrill. Yeah.
Okay. And so it slowly keeps growing and growing. When do you start feeling like this is a real serious amount of money? Because I mean, at the end of your drug dealing days, you bought a house in Belgium.
Yes.
So when was there a turning point where you started? Wow, this is actually now I'm starting to become a baller. Now I'm really making money.
The moment is like because I got more and more customers,
Mhm.
and at some point I was getting like 20, 30 calls a day
Mhm.
to bring them some supply.
Mhm.
Or well, back then they all had to come to me already.
Yeah.
And at some point I hired, like you can't buy 1-2 grams anymore. You have to go to 5. At some
Mhm.
point I went to 10, and at some point you start to sell to the suppliers.
Right. Yeah.
So how it went was I was dating a Russian girl,
Mhm.
then,
Classic.
and her father was half Dutch,
Uh-huh.
half Russian,
Okay.
and he was kind of one of the biggest guys in the drug business.
Mhm.
And yeah, she knew I was dealing, and he met me like, and he was like, "Yeah, you want to work with me, not for him, with me."
Mm.
So what we were doing then is we would get like very big supplies from Spain
Mhm.
and would transport it, drug traffic it like my father,
Yes.
to Belgium and the Netherlands.
Mm.
Basically, at start I was buying. At some point, like when I started, then I was buying 200 grams of wheat every week
Mhm.
for 5 euros a gram, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So 50% profit margin.
Mhm.
Then it was 2 euros a gram.
Mm.
That's an insanely big.
It's a very
Difference.
big
Yes.
difference.
At some point, it was like we were getting from Spain to Belgium about 1,000 kilos. 1 kilo
Mm.
a week.
Mhm.
And then it was like, okay, we need to start selling to the suppliers.
Mhm.
So I knew already who the suppliers were. And yet, like you would think, like, okay, there's a big competition, and you would get like shot or anything.
Mhm.
This happens in the movies. In the reality, or in maybe here in Brazil,
Yeah. Maybe it's different in Brazil, but
Yeah.
in Antwerp.
in Belgium, no one wants too much trouble with each other because they know it's not beneficial for everyone.
Mm.
Everyone has their territory, and that's where it stays.
Mhm.
By the way, one time I got into trouble.
Mhm.
So where my mom used to live, I knew some people there, and I was selling to them, and they would buy like 20 to 50 grams at once every week. They were like small scale suppliers, but to friends, not like really big corporate.
Corporate drug dealers.
corporate drug dealers. And at some point, like one guy stopped me and said, like, bro, this is my territory. I know who you are. Stay out of here.
Oh wow.
Like a warning, nothing. I was like, oh, fuck this shit. How can he know if anything happens? And so then, like, I was like, fuck this shit. I went again. And then they stopped me in a Volkswagen Golf. I don't know, it's like a drug dealer car. Every Arab guy there drives a Volkswagen Golf.
Volkswagen Golf.
They just stopped in front of me, pulled a gun in my face, and said, get in the car.
Wow.
I got fucking scared, of course. I got in the car, and they were like, look, we warned you. And I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. And they just punched me in the face one time, left me in a spot, stole my stash, and yeah, fucked off.
Right.
So I got off lucky. But then I was already working with the Russian Netherlands guy, the father of my then girlfriend.
Yep.
And I told him what happened. It was like, yeah, I need some cash. And we just started working together. So maybe the first or second week we were working together. I'm like, holy shit, like I have this big stash I just lost.
How much was it worth?
That was about 200 grams, street value 2,000 euros.
2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It was just the start, so I didn't have much spare money back then. So yeah, I went to him. It's like, look, I need another supply. I'm sorry, I'll pay it back to you. I know we just started working, but and it's like, okay, what happened? So yeah, my stash got stolen. Said by who? And I showed him on Facebook, like, yeah, it's this guy. 2 weeks later, this guy got stabbed.
Wow.
So then I was already getting like a bit like, fuck, like this business, I don't want to be in this business forever. Like there has to be another way. But because of my homeless background, I was like, okay, I'm gonna set a goal for myself, and I promised myself to get out of the drug business once I achieve this goal. And that goal was to buy a house, paid, just like outright paid. That was the goal. Because I know drug dealers, it's very hard to get out of the game. Either because they work for someone that won't let them out of the game, which was not my case, or the other side is it's just too easy money. And for me, it was the second case. It was just easy money, and I know myself, like, I need to set a clear goal or it's gonna be fucked. It's not sustainable. So I did that for about 4 more months with that Russian guy. And then we got quite big at some point. Like, we knew all the suppliers. We were supplying all the big suppliers in Belgium. Just only weed, by the way. I had also the opportunity from him to get into the coke business. That was a bit too much for me. Like weed, like fuck weed, right? But cocaine really destroys lives. And for my karma, I was like, no, it's not for me. I'm making good money with this. I don't need more. I don't need to risk more just to get more money.
But there's a lot more money in cocaine.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, like 10x.
10x? Well, you're 10x, man. There's a lot of talk of 10xing your business on the Nomad cruise. So if you're a weed dealer, just start dealing cocaine. That's 10x.
Exactly.
ChatGPT will help you. No. Right. Yeah. So and then you're growing, you're getting bigger and bigger, and then you did buy the house in the end, didn't you? You bought a house in Belgium.
The money I got for the house went in 2 deals.
So just 2 deals, and you're
like you know, like you're young, you're making money, you're balling, you're like going to the club, popping bottles of champagne in the VIP, like just wasting all your money pretty much.
Nice. Is it because it's easy money and then it's easy to spend
exactly,
it?
Exactly.
I've heard that.
And also, like at some point, like my drawers were just overloading with cash, and it's not like you can put it in the bank, right? And so yeah, I'm like, fuck, I have all this cash money, what to do with it? So I was just spending it on stupid things. But I also made some investment with it. I bought 2 Rolexes, Panerai watch.
You like watches?
No, but I see it as an investment.
Okay.
I still have them. They're stored in my mom's house.
Okay.
It's just for later to use them or sell them.
Okay.
I just had them on. I'm like, fuck it, I'll buy them.
Okay. Interesting.
So then the 2 deals that actually bought my house was we got a big order of the top drug mafia in Antwerp, which were Belgian Moroccans. Now if you see like on the news, like there's a lot of talk about grenade explosions, like buildings getting blown up by grenades.
Okay.
It's them.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. So serious mafia.
Yes. And we also had the guy like the Frenchman. Sounds very movie-like, but everyone knew him as the Frenchman.
Yeah.
And there was actually a very big, also, I think even a Vice documentary about this guy.
Right.
Because he got caught in the end.
Okay, the Frenchman.
Yes, the Frenchman. He got caught. You can look it up. The Frenchman, Antwerp. You might find some articles about it.
Okay, this is the behind-the-scenes story.
Yeah, like he had like sets of jet skis, mansions, everything, and we
Okay.
supplied him.
You supplied him.
Yeah, we supplied
And
that guy.
So they would come to you because you were taking the risk of bringing it into the country?
Yes.
Like, that's the reason
I
why they
didn't
would
bring
pay
it
you.
in myself,
Yeah.
but we found some Latinos, Colombians actually,
Okay.
that would transport it for us
Right.
from Spain to.
How does hiring go in the drug game? How do you hire somebody? What's the interview process like? Do they have a resume? Like, how does that all... like, how do you find someone? How do you trust them? How does all that work?
Well, actually, it was the Russian guy that coordinated like everything.
Okay.
But I helped because I knew a few guys through selling, and I knew in those business, not everyone has a lot of money. So like people I knew that, okay, they're smart, there's something in them. Like we were just like lit up a joint, have a conversation, talk about it, and then see like if they would up to transport it.
Right. Right.
But most of it went through the Russian Dutch guy.
Okay, so he was kind of the head of the operation.
Yeah. He was the head for sure.
You were dating his daughter. I mean, what?
Well, actually, at some point I stopped dating his daughter
Yeah.
because I fell in love with a Belarusian girl.
It's always the Slavic girls for you, eh?
Exactly. And now I have a Moldovan one as well.
Yeah.
But I was really afraid to break up with her at some point. But
Yeah.
actually, he was chill about it. Like he was young and said, "Look, I'm young. Like shit happens. Like doesn't have
Yeah,
to mean
how old are
anything."
you when all this is happening? You're like 21 or something.
So I started like drug dealing when I was living with my friend.
Yeah.
I just turned 18 at that point. Just turned 18,
Mm-hmm.
and I got out when I was 23.
Yeah, so very young. That whole I mean, what a crazy way to spend your early 20s. And so you do the big deals with the Frenchman and the Moroccan mafia.
Yeah.
And that was enough money on 2 deals to buy a house outright.
So
That's
the biggest
crazy.
deal is actually there was a border. There was back then like a lot of border control through the border of France and Belgium. So the supply had to take a detour, and the detour went from from Spain to France to Germany, and then around to the Netherlands. And and he knew a guy. They were actually a cartel, like the real cartel,
Yeah.
like Pablo Escobar kind of shit. So we had to pick up our supply there.
Right.
So we drove, and it was like, yeah, but fuck, like if there's border control, can they bring us to Belgium? Like, no, you have to fix it yourself. If you want to make this kind of money, like you have to take it as just in case. That one deal made us 80,000,
Wow.
and the other deal made us about 60,000.
Okay.
So we got a few, let's say, drug mules, how they say.
Yeah.
They took the train to Rotterdam, and we took the car to Rotterdam to meet them first. And we got like even like a code and everything on a paper to give like to a guy. We're like, what the fuck is going on? They say, yeah, just go to this address, this exact like coordinates, like the longitude and altitude.
Yeah,
like,
latitude.
latitude, thank you. Coordinates.
Yeah.
And we're like, what the fuck is
Yeah,
this shit?
wow.
Like with a letter code.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we drive there. And there's like this big, like, with walls and everything, like super high walls. Like, what the fuck, where are we? So we stop the car there and there's no one there. So I text my guy and he's like, okay, just wait, I guess. Okay, we just wait. And then some Latino looking guy, I don't want to be racist, but he looked very Latino,
Yeah, sure.
coming to us. And he was like, what are you doing here? We say, and I just showed him like the paper, like with the
Right.
code on it, like a 6-letter code.
Okay.
And he was like just nodding his head, called someone, and then they just like, they said, okay, come. So we drove with the car. He was walking. We just like going with the car next to him. It's like in here. So they open the gate, and we go in the gates, and basically it's just like a fucking giant mansion
Okay.
in like the outskirts of Rotterdam. So we drive our car there. We leave the car. We walk, and we see like a big ass house with like guys with guns. And my heart was pounding. I was like, bro, I'm in a fucking Pablo Escobar movie. I don't
Yeah.
want to be here. Fuck
Yeah.
this shit. And these guys also barely spoke any English or Dutch. Like, just like some hand gestures. Like they didn't even talk to us. Like very like,
Yeah.
did like fuck off. Like this feeling.
Yeah.
And then they move us to a shack. They say, okay, take your car. They move us to a shack, and our supply was in that shack. Literally. A shack. How can I have to explain this size. How can I explain this size?
Square meters, how big? 10 square
Let's
meters.
say I think the size of this room here.
Okay, so tiny shack. Yeah, this.
Let's say 40 square meters.
Okay.
Or just with high, let's say maybe 3-meter walls.
Okay.
Just fully stashed with bags of weed.
Wow. Well, the whole room was just filled with
Yeah,
weed.
just a shack of weed. You get in that room, you already feel high. So they were like, okay, your stash is here. So they load. It was 1 tons.
A whole ton.
A fucking ton.
Wow. Yeah, 1 kilogram.
That's a van. That's a van full. So, but we also had like 8 people.
What is the smell like of a ton of weed? Does that, like, is it?
It's the same like, let's say, putting your nose in a bag of weed.
Yeah.
But then like the entire room smells like that. Like a hot box, but without the smoke.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got the stash. We loaded it in our car. Actually didn't fit.
How long does it take to load a kilogram of weed into a car?
There were like 2 guys plus us, me and 1 friend, so we're like 4 of us.
Yeah.
It took maybe like 10 minutes. It's not that
okay.
big.
Okay.
The bags were 10 kilos a bag. I would say like they're half the size of you, 1 bag, but they're very compressed. So the bags are very compressed. So it's smaller than it looks, but it's heavier than it looks. So we loaded them in the car and we're like, yeah, fuck no, we're not gonna transport this with us. But we had like extra guys just in case that came with the train. And then we're like, okay, we can't do this. And the bags were like zip compressed. I don't know how to say it, but like
Ziploc?
vacuum pressed.
Vacuum pressed, yes.
Yeah. So they didn't smell. So what we did is we went to, we left it there. We're like, yeah.
So where were you? Sorry, this stash. Which country was that? In Belgium? Or
No, that was in Rotterdam, in the Netherlands.
Yeah, in Rotterdam. Sorry.
Yeah, because it couldn't move through the border on that day. So they had to move the stash through another route.
Ah, okay. Yeah, and so you filled the car and you said it didn't fit in the car.
Yeah, I was like, fuck, I'm not driving with this stash to Belgium. No fucking way I'm doing that.
Yeah.
So we had like 8 guys that came with the train just in case, and we were like, yeah, okay, we need to find another way. So we got like all the guys to get like 5 kilos per bag, so 10 kilos, 8 guys was 80 kilos. We had 920 kilos left to go.
Wow.
So we did part with the car. We also called some other guys, said, "Yo, bro, now come to Amsterdam with your to Rotterdam with your car. Take a stash, take your car with you. We'll pay you $1,000 if you now come." So we had like extra people because it was an entire operation to get this back to Belgium. We did it also in 3 days. So we did it in a few times, like with guys just going train.
So it took 3 days. Wow. And you did it in small
batches.
And you outsourced all of that. You let like
well,
drug deals
our
do that.
car had still like 100 kilos in it.
Wow.
So yeah, that was a crazy operation. But my personal share in that one was 80K.
Wow.
Then we did another one of 60K. So we did it 2 times.
And then you bought the house with that money.
Yeah, so that was actually the last time I sold weed.
Was that because you made the goal, or was it like because it was quite scary by the sound of?
No, it was too sketchy because with that money I couldn't buy the house yet.
Yeah.
So in the end, so I was, by the way, this entire time I was still working.
Yeah.
Not Starbucks, but then I was like a sales agent for an electricity company. So I was doing sales already.
We had experience doing sales.
Exactly. So I was like, yeah, I was making white money, legal money, about €1,000 a month,
Okay.
part-time.
Yep.
And the rest I had then cash. And back then I had like about, yeah, those 240k cash. I had like about 20k in the bank. And then I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna go out. Then also after that, honestly, after that drug deal, I spent a lot of money, like 20k on a few parties and
Yeah. Did you throw a party or did you?
stuff.
Or
Yes.
you were just partying?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
really? Nice. Should have invited me. No.
So we rented like a big mansion
Wow.
with swimming pool.
Yeah.
We had girls over, like we had like 50 people. I paid for everything. Also, like because I didn't grow up with having friends, so I have felt like this is the way to prove your status.
Yeah,
Let's say I
yeah.
wanted to have some status.
Yeah.
So yeah, and after that I was like, okay, I'm out of the game.
Mm.
So I had 100k cash at some point then to buy the house, and €1,000 white money. So in Belgium you have the rule like you can only get 20. You need to put 20% of the money
Down payment.
20%, but you also need to keep, I think it was €1,000 after mortgage for living expenses. And basically with my €1,000 white salary, how, right? So that's why I still had to get a mortgage.
Okay.
But I was like, fuck it, like €1,000 is fine. I have a big down payment.
You can't just go and be like, here's 200k in cash. Give me the house.
Well, I laundered the money
Yeah.
because at some point my mother found out I was selling drugs because she was like, what the fuck, where are your clothes coming from? Where is this watch coming from? It's like, yeah, sorry, but yeah, I'm selling drugs.
Yeah. What a conversation to have.
Yeah. Actually, she was quite chill about it.
Yeah.
At that point, she was already kind of feeling bad for... At that moment, she already started to realize that she fucked up in quite a lot of... So she was kind of not too judgmental about it. And so yeah, she was like, look, your grandmother is dying. I knew that. She was gonna die in a few months due to diabetes. And and my grandmother was in her town in Ukraine, kind of someone with connections, and she knew a director of a bank. So she made a deal with the bank director that the money would be stored in the bank, and when she died, it would go to my mother as inheritance.
Okay.
So my mom went, because my mom wanted to take care of my grandmother those last few months. So we transported the money cash to Ukraine.
Oh, so you like smuggled it in?
No, it was legal because basically it's like when you go to airport, you can declare stuff.
Right.
And the story was very simple. Like, look, my grandmother's is sick. We have a lot of hospital expenses, and so I'm bringing the money there to help her, to take care of her. And she also had a house there. I don't know, my mother dealt with that, but she brought the money, the 100k, officially into Ukraine, not smuggled.
Okay, officially brought in, but your grandma sorted out a deal with the director of the bank.
Yes, my grandmother. So basically,
Your grandma is like pretty cool, man.
Slavic people, bro. We hustle.
That's a hustling on her last day. She's like making this deal. It's amazing.
Well, my grandmother brought her. She never knew why. She never knew about the drug business or anything.
Okay.
My mother was like, she's not gonna find out. It's her last month.
Yeah, don't.
Like, not get a heart attack today. Like, a few months more.
Yeah.
So the money was there. Basically, then my grandmother indeed did die, unfortunately, and the money went as an inheritance to my mother, and that's how she went back to Belgium. And she gave the inheritance. She used it to buy the apartment for me.
Okay. So that's how you kind of
Laundered
the money.
Yeah. Well, it was 100k after the costs to the bank.
Yeah.
I think we paid the bank. My mother. I think it was maybe between 10 and 20k euros to the bank as.
So the
bribe.
bank direct, she straight up bribed the bank
Oh,
director.
100%. No one's doing it for free, right?
No. But it's,
No one works for free.
these are the kind of people running banks, just so you know.
No, in Ukraine they
In
do
Ukraine-
it like that.
I think in every
It's
country.
a poor country. It's shit. Like everyone is bribable in those
Yeah.
countries. Serbia, I guess, is the same, right?
Nah, man, Serbia's all good. No,
Oh, yeah.
I think that goes on in Australia, in America. I think this world is very corrupt.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
people are corruptible. I think it's all the same. You want a smoke break?
Fuck yeah, I want to smoke.
No, we're smoking on air.
We can fucking talk and smoke. I don't care.
We can talk and smoke. We didn't bring cigars because
But I want mine. I don't want these mint.
you don't want
clickers.
mint. Mate, you're on air. Okay, I got you.
Now everyone knows you smoke mint cigarettes.
Yeah, you can find me. Black guys smoke menthols, you know. In
Whatever you like.
I like him. I like him. All right. No shame. No shame in my game. Taking a smoke break, and well, that kind of closes out the chapter of your drug dealing life. You kind of worked at that, built up a career. That's your first entrepreneurial experience. Ended up buying a house.
Yeah.
And you get out of the game.
That's how I got out of the game, exactly.
But now the second phase is currently right now you're a very successful headhunter.
Yeah, I had to go legit at some point.
Yeah,
right?
you went legit, and I think that's what's amazing because it's hard to believe that someone can do something like that. Maybe this is inspiring to people that are in your kind of line of work. Say you can get out, you can change.
Of course you can. The biggest thing is don't work for cartel.
Yeah.
Like be like a sole entrepreneur and have a clear goal. When are you going to step out? That's very important.
Yeah.
Most people just get into it and they just go with it, and they have maybe too big of an ego to think they'll ever get caught. At some point, everyone gets caught.
One more question I had. What's kind of the psychology like when you're in the drug dealing world? Is it like you can't sleep at night, or is stressing when you see a police car? Is it like that, or you had peace?
No,
with
fuck no. There's
it?
no peace in that business.
No.
There's no peace in that
No.
business. Every time I saw a police car standing by, or even sometimes like in front of the house, like two people sitting in a car, you think they're scouting you out. You
Yeah.
think there's some undercovers, really.
Yeah.
Like it makes you fucking paranoid.
Yeah.
It's crazy how paranoid it makes you.
Yeah. So you wouldn't. One other question I had was like, would you ever recommend that line of work to anybody? Do you think in your position that you were at, it kind of was the right decision, or do you regret that part of your life?
No, I don't.
No.
For many people, I think yes. For me, it was like I was at that moment also very depressed myself.
Yeah.
And I also contemplated suicide
Mm.
quite a lot, actually. And I was like, either I make it or I fucking die.
Fuck.
There was no in between. It's also like one of the famous motivational speakers says, like, you'll achieve it if you want it as much as you want to breathe.
Mm.
And for me, it was either die or achieve something. I grew up without money, without friends. I was never happy in my life. So I was like, fuck it. Like, I'm gonna sell drugs. Well, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And if you're at that point that you don't care anymore, then yeah, it doesn't matter.
That's when you can do it.
So that's the only reason why I also got in drug business. I just didn't care about
Yeah, you
anything
didn't
else
care.
anymore.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at that moment, like, I got a house, I got money, I had a nice girlfriend, everything was getting good. So if you have a good life, then you also have something to live for.
Mm.
And when you have something to live for, I would not recommend the drug business.
No. And so you got out, but you said during that whole phase you did have a day job just to have something on paper to help you not getting caught.
Also, just because I just didn't want to be a couch potato and smoke weed and play PlayStation all day.
Yeah.
I just wanted something to do.
Yeah.
And also to have something legit still to make it like less obvious that I'm a drug dealer.
Mm-hmm. Did you feel yourself like, so you moved, you're currently a headhunter and doing very well with
Yes.
that. How did you get into that game?
So because of drug business, I understood that I was good at sales, good at business, and that I like money. Who doesn't, right?
Yeah.
So that's also when I was just researching a lot about sales jobs that are very well paid. and I found one vacancy advertisement on the internet that said like starter sales job, recruitment, the best billers get a Mercedes, and like good money, good commissions, low starting salary. I was like, fuck it, I'll hustle, I don't care.
Yeah.
And I got rejected there. They didn't hire me. Then I got in touch with a competitor of them, and I went on an interview, and I really liked the people. Like the vibe was there, and I also had to come in a suit, by the way. And I never wore a suit in my life.
Wow.
And I got the interview confirmation the day before the interview.
Right.
And in the interview confirmation, the email, it said like you have to wear a suit and tie. I'm like, fuck, it's 4 p.m. I have to go tomorrow at 9 a.m. to that interview. I have no suit and tie. And I'm not gonna go without a suit and tie. I need to make a good impression. Like if they ask it, I'm gonna do it. So basically, I went to suit supply and I was like, okay, I need a suit. And they were like, yeah, but okay, like they got a suit. I need it tailored as well, right? And I was like, okay, need a suit, and I need by 9 now, please.
Yeah.
I didn't know a suit had to be tailored, and I wanted to look really nice. I wanted a tailored suit.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, it's not possible now. I'm like, what will it take to make it possible? The mall closed at 8 p.m. I was there at 4, and I said, look, I'll wait in the mall. I don't care, but I need it today. I need to. There's no other choice.
Yeah.
And I just slid her 2 50-euro bills, and it's like, make it happen today. I beg you. This is important. Like,
Wow.
it's an interview. It's life-changing. I need it.
Yeah.
And she was like, we vibed with the girl. She
Yeah.
was
Yeah, you charmed your way in. That's cool.
And she managed it. So they tailored the suit. I got it by 8 p.m. And then like you need to tie the suit as well, like the tie. You know,
yeah.
fuck that shit. All evening I was practicing how to tie a suit. Next morning I woke up at 6 a.m. just so I had 2 hours of time to tie that fucking tie.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing.
So yeah, went to tie the suit after 1 million tries. Tailored this, like, yeah, went on the interview. I felt it went well. And then after the first interview, it's like, yeah, but I smoked a lot of weed then, so I was very skinny and like not maybe that presentable. And they rejected me after the first interview.
Wow.
And the other company rejected me as well. I'm now like, fuck no, like, I need this job. Like everything they explained how it works, I felt like this is my way out. This is my way to success. Like I'm just gonna do this. And that was a standard recruitment company that actually hired juniors. I'm like, come on, I'm gonna get it. So the hiring manager called me, said, I'm sorry, but we're gonna reject you. We don't think you're the right fit. I'm like, okay, why not the right fit? It's like, yeah, like you're enthusiastic, we see something, but like one person was very excited, the other person not that much. So we said like, yeah, if one person not excited, we're just not gonna do it. Like, oh, let me speak to other people. Like there's 10 people in the team, like give me another opportunity, please. But the hiring manager also gets a commission from every person hired.
Yeah.
So she did her best to arrange a second interview with other people. So I got the second interview, and again, one person excited, the other one was like doubting, like, yeah, there's something, but something is still off, like, I'm not sure. Again, rejected. I tried again. I called the hiring man. I called the come on, give me one more chance. Like, I know I can do this. Like, please just give me the opportunity. Even don't pay me salary, which is actually legal in Belgium, so they can't not pay me a salary.
Go on, just keep going.
And so yeah, in the end, like they said, no, you can't have, like, come on, we rejected you 2 times. Sorry, I can't do anything anymore. So I went to the office.
Wow.
So they recruited for engineers. And I was like ringing the bell. I'm like, yeah, I'm an engineer. I'm looking for a job. Because they wouldn't let me in the building anymore. So I rang and it's like, come on, no, sorry. Like, come on, just stop stalking, right? That's, no is no.
Yeah.
Then I went back like 30 minutes later. I had a coffee somewhere, got some boost of confidence. Went back and said, hey, I'm an engineer. I'm looking for a job. Oh yeah, please come up. So I went again in the building and they're like, this can't be fucking real. This can't be real. And they sat me down. This time the director of the company, by the chance, that day the big boss of the company was there. It was like, fuck this guy, I want to interview him. And he sat down with me, he's like, bro, like, okay, explain to me. Say, yeah, I got rejected 2 times, but I'm really pleased. Just give me an opportunity. Like, I know I can do this. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, if you go this far, like,
Go all in.
yeah, fuck it. If you go all in, fuck it. We'll give you a chance.
Yeah.
So I got hired.
Wow. Amazing.
I got hired.
Amazing.
I got hired with 2 other people.
Yeah.
That they were super excited about. And first 3 months, because I was always a rebel in school, at house, like drug business, it was very hard for me to adapt to a corporate environment. So the first 3 months I kind of like was fucking it up, not on purpose, but just like not listening to what they say, like doing my own thing, like experimenting myself with different techniques and ways of doing it, and not following their best practice. So it got a lot of people pissed. But then after 3 months, like at some point it just boomed. And also in engineering, like those type of companies, they have disciplines. So one team does mechanical engineering, the other team does electrical engineering, and the very seniors do like more like the executive engineers, like the big managers, you know, where the big money is.
Yeah.
And I was just smelling where the opportunity, after a few months I was just smelling where the money was. And I was a part of the mechanical team. And the rule is, if you're mechanical, you stay in mechanical. If you get a job order for another discipline, you give it to them.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck this shit. Like, I can do this shit. So I was like, I think I filled more job orders for other disciplines than my own discipline.
Right.
So all the team hated me because I was basically stealing their business. But the manager loved it. The manager was like, you smell money. I love it. You smell money.
Yeah.
And then after the 3 months, like after 6 months, I was one of the best performers.
Amazing.
After 6 months.
Wow.
And in my first year, I finished 5th in the company. And we were 180 employees.
Amazing.
And I finished 5th in my first year. And the top 5 were like, well, the top 4 I was 5th.
How old were you at this point? 24?
24.
Wow.
24. Yeah,
amazing. Amazing.
No, 23, 24, like around
there.
Yeah. So I was one of the top performers. I even had to give my like during the yearly how do you say, company party?
Yeah, the Christmas party.
Yeah,
the
Christmas
whatever.
party. Yeah. Sales conference they called it.
Okay.
And they even I had to even give a speech about the way I got hired, because it was the craziest story of someone got hired in the company.
Yeah. The story is great. This is what I'm about. Stories, man. Stories are more powerful than experience or anything. If you just create a story, it's so powerful. Yeah, and so you're giving speeches on that. You're the 5th.
In my first year.
Yeah, but it's amazing. I mean, the drive. It's the way you got hired, and just the way that you just said, "Fuck it, I'm hiring anybody and everybody. I just want to make money." You smelt that money.
So and then I was doing like more like the low level engineers, like just taking any engineer I can, but like low level, more juniors. But I like the executives, like, you know, like it's higher level conversations. They show up on interviews. You don't have to babysit them. So I was like, I want to go more there. And at some point, one of my clients, he said like, look, we have a good position. Try it out. Tried it out. Like, fucked it up. But I loved it. I fucking loved talking to those high-level director people, you know, making like 200-300K a year, like older senior people, like with more maturity, nicer stories, like you said.
Better stories.
It's all about the stories.
It's all about the story, man.
So then my manager actually left to another company. He got headhunted by a headhunting company. The headhunter got headhunted.
Yeah.
And he was like, bro, like, I love working with you. You're good at what you do. I know you want to go to more executive search. You want to join me? I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll join you. And it was a startup. In the UK, they were already quite big. But in Belgium, it was 0 people. And he was becoming the manager of that office in Belgium. And he took me with him like the first employee. Like, okay, we do this, okay. And that's how I got more into executive search. But still, because it was a startup, there were no tools. Like the previous company was a big corporate environment with 200 employees almost. So it was a lot of processes. You knew exactly every step you had to do. And I worked there for 1.5 years, by the way. So 1 year, 6 months. And then I got headhunted. I joined them. Higher salary, bigger commissions, executive, higher level positions. Like, yeah, okay. No process, so I had to figure everything out. I had to do my own processes, my own headhunting. There was no inbound. Everything you had to cold call and do yourself because there was no marketing, no nothing. So basically, here's LinkedIn. Call people, and yeah, praise them.
Just start talking.
Yeah,
Start telling stories.
yeah. Call businesses, call people, and bring them together, basically.
Yeah.
And that's how I learned to work more independent. And I worked there for 4 years. At some point, I grew there to manager as well, because my manager, he was a Dutch guy, so he went to open the Dutch office. It's like, okay, well, you can open you can continue the Belgian office. Some point I had a team under me, 4 people performing very well. Back then I was about making 200 to 300k of revenue a year.
Yep.
And after 4 years, I had something like, wait a minute, I'm doing everything myself. Why do I only get 30%? There's no marketing, there's no nothing. I'm just giving away 70%. And that's also like our company got us like a coach, like a business coach, to help for random things, like, psychology, mental health, work health. And I was like, yeah, I'm feeling a bit burned out. Like, it's just the same thing. I don't feel motivated anymore. And she got like deeper into it. Okay, what do you want to do with your life? It's like, yeah, like I went on a work trip to Ibiza. The top performers, they went to Ibiza, 5-star resort, like super nice. At some point I got like on the resort, like drunk, like coked up. And I got home after the party. I was like just like sitting in my like here, like in my hangmat, like looking at the stars. I'm like, fuck, this is the life.
Yeah.
Why can't I I want to travel full time. I want to visit countries. I want to, in Belgium it's fucking freezing. I'm here in Ibiza having fun. I want to do this permanently. And I told that to my coach, that I had this eureka moment. And she was like, okay, why don't you do it? Like, your job is perfect to do remote.
Well, they hired the business coach to help you guys, and she was telling you to start your own company.
No, she was just telling me, like, why don't you propose to my company to do it remote?
Oh, okay, right, sorry.
And then I was like, yeah, okay, like, actually, why not? So it was all more my own fears holding me back from doing it remotely.
Yeah.
So then I said, like, okay, I went to my boss and said, like, look, I want to work remote. Can we try it out? I was like, yeah, sure. Okay, go for it. That was in November. November 2021.
Okay.
So just after COVID.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I went like a trial 1 month. They first wanted to trial it. So I went to Tenerife, Canary Islands, to work 1 month remotely. Oh, it went amazing. Oh, I felt alive. I never felt that happy in my life. Working remote, paradise, new friends, new environment. Like, wow, this is it.
Yeah.
But also doing everything independently. And after 1 month, I'm like starting to think like, fuck, I can just work by myself. Like, I don't need my company to do this. And then from January, I went back to Belgium, told my employer, like, look, I don't see the value anymore. I can do this by myself. I'm going to do it by myself. And then I started to do it by myself.
Wow. Amazing.
And then after 1 year of doing it in Belgium, well, remote, as a digital nomad, traveling around the world, at some point I closed like a Bell 20 company. It's like the Belgian equivalent of the S&P 500 in the US. They were making 8 billion in revenue a year.
Wow.
And they got my contract to another big client I have. And like, yeah, we have some very, very important position. And the position was a sustainability director, working with the Minister of the European Union to achieve like the climate goals of Europe, to make everything zero carbon. And it's like the biggest position I ever pulled in my life. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to share this client with anyone. And then I got that client closed on my own company. And then I was like, yeah, okay, this is it. I'm going all by myself now. Then I also moved to Dubai because I was my first year in my own company. I made 280,000 euros
Wow.
in revenue. In recruitment, that's about 250k pure profit.
Okay. It's very good.
Yeah, but half of that I have to give to the Belgian tax man.
No, which is completely immoral and wrong.
So many, especially if you don't live in the country anymore.
Yeah.
And then I decided like I'm gonna move to Dubai. I spoke to a lot of lawyers, figured shit out, and then I moved to Dubai. And so I moved to Dubai last year.
Yep. And Dubai.
Zero tax.
Yep.
And now I'm living the life.
Now you're a free man.
Yeah, now we're now December. This year I made 220k profit.
Amazing.
All in my pocket. So I'm living the life now. I'm traveling. I have a hot girlfriend. I have a house. Every year I make enough money to buy another house.
Amazing.
So yeah, that's my story pretty much.
Incredible, Jay. It's been an incredible conversation. Thank you for sharing that. I guess one question I'd have before we end it is, can you sum up what does it take to be a good headhunter? What do you need to do to be a good headhunter?
What I noticed in the business is you just have to believe in yourself. But that counts in everything in life.
Everything.
Every step you take, you need to go get out of your comfort zone. And I never had a problem by believing that I could do it. Especially cold calling, for example. You're like, oh, now I have to call a director of a company to pitch my business.
Yeah.
And they're maybe thinking 10, 15, 20 minutes like, oh, should I call him? Is he the right person? Will he be interested in what I have to offer? I was always like, fuck it.
Just call him.
Fuck it. Just do
call
it.
him. Yeah.
So the biggest advice I can give about everything in life is just say, fuck it. Don't give a fuck. Just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
It's incredible.
What are they gonna do? They're gonna shoot you? They're gonna kill you? No, they're not. Like the worst thing is they say no.
Yeah.
Fuck this shit.
It's amazing.
That's the biggest advice I can give about every aspect of life. Don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I think that's from the earlier career that you had. It gave you that, like you said, you had nothing to lose. So it gave you this psychology of just fucking go all in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it kind
all
of...
in or nothing.
Yeah, all in or nothing. But yeah, I mean, you kind of live in the dream, and you got out of that world, which is so rare. And I hope somebody hearing this can take inspiration and get out of the drug game, I guess, if somebody out there is listening. But it can show you, yeah, I mean, you're living the dream life now, and you made it on this podcast, which is clearly a highlight of your career as well. No.
Of course.
Get to tell your story. Thank you so much, Jay, for telling your story. And should we leave it at that, unless you have any final words or anything else you wanted to share?
Thanks, Milan. I appreciate for having this opportunity to share this story in full for the first time ever. So thank you very much. And guys, don't forget that just don't give a shit.
Just don't give a fuck. Aim for freedom and don't pay taxes if you can. Go to Dubai. Go wherever the hell you can. Get out of the fucking bullshit system. Thank you very much for tuning in. This has been the podcast Hostile, recorded in Mojo de Sao Paulo, maybe a week after the Nomad Cruise 12, which took us from Tenerife to
Brazil.
Salvador in Brazil. And now we're going to go out for dinner or get drunk or something. Have a good time. Thank you very much for tuning in. Cheers, guys.